Good morning, my artsy friends. It is a beautiful Monday morning. The sun is shining bright and it is rather cold. I think it's like 55 degrees where I am in Texas at the moment, and the temperature is set to fall rapidly over the next couple of days. Hopefully, you all are doing wonderful. You enjoyed your weekend. You are bright eyed, bushy tailed, and you are ready to go. So, today, friends, we are looking, or should I say, we are doing a unboxing and a swatching of a brand new watercolor set. Now, if you've been following me or hanging out with me for a while, odds are you've already kind of seen this set. Because whenever I get things into the studio, I'll go ahead and show them to you guys and let you know that eventually they're going to end up somewhere on the list to be unboxed, tested, and reviewed. And we have finally made our way around to Arta watercolor set. It is a pocket box of 12 half pans. And that's what we're going to be tackling today. And we're going to jump into that in just 1 second. Before we do that, I do want to remind you guys that if you missed last week's release, we did a video on my attempt at doing some impressionism, trying to pull back on the details that I always include in my paintings. And, just to try to pull myself outside the box and do something different. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how successful I was with it being an impressionism painting. I do believe I started to get a little bit, excuse me, too realistic with it. Started to put a few too many details, but I can't help it. It's just what I do. So this is that painting. Now, this was last Wednesday's video release. So if you missed it, you feel like it's something you kind of want to play along, paint along to, excuse me, or kind of pick up some of the information on impressionism, then I definitely suggest that you go check that video out. Now, this week's pre-recorded release coming up, which will also coincide with the February 2025 real-time tutorial for the Just Keep Painting art series that comes out on Patreon. And then, of course, there's always a time lapse of it here on YouTube. Now, that will be this Wednesday, and we will be using the Crayola Signature Color pencils, which we unboxed together. I've already taken the time to, let's see here. I've already taken the time to swatch them out, start to do some preliminary testing with them. Um, and this is the medium that we're going to be using in this upcoming Wednesday's video, as well as this upcoming Wednesday's Just Keep Painting full-time tutorial over on Patreon. Now, I'll show you really quick what we're going to be working on. We will be working on, let's see, we will be working on realism. So we're kind of going in the opposite direction. Last week we talked about impressionism. This week we are going to be kind of jumping into scratching the surface of realism. And the reason I say scratching the surface is because what I want to do is break the realism videos down into about 2 or 3 videos to make it a complete lesson. I'm not as keen on impressionism as I am on realism. So I feel like I can talk a little bit more in depth about this particular end of the spectrum when it comes to art creation. So we're going to dive into some preliminary things this Wednesday, and we're going to be tackling this pair. Now, here's the caveat to all of that. As I say that, one of the main things we're going to touch on in this series of videos about realism is the medium that you use. Now, I told you that I use the Crayola signature color pencils, which are supposed to be a level up from their regular Crayola pencils, just because I like testing out Crayola. Of course, it's not a fine art product, but it's a staple in the art community here, especially in the Americas. So I always like to try Crayola products. Not that I'm ever trying to push them on anyone. Now, have found so far that although they are completely different from, like, say, um, regular Crayola color pencils, they definitely are not on your professional level. in any shape, form, or fashion. And I did have a few issues pulling this off the way I wanted to. And I will be honest, you can barely see, or I can barely see here, where I did shading to put in some of the shadows to give the pair some of the roundness. But I'll talk more about that in detail when we actually get to, excuse me, when we get to Wednesday's pre-recorded video. I'm actually done with the Patreon version. It's already uploaded and scheduled to come out, but I have not put together the YouTube version yet, which is going to be time lapse. And you can just see what I mean here, just based on these two creations that's on this page. I was able to get much, I feel, much more of a realistic look doing the blueberries than I did doing the pear. And that did have a lot to do with the medium. So, or should I say, the quality of the medium that I used, because these were both done with colored pencils. So, but we'll get more into that in on down the line in a future video. I just wanted to show you guys what we are going to be tackling in this Wednesday's pre-record. Let's see. Now, here, my friends, we're going to talk about something that's probably going to rock you and shock you. I have Windsor and Newton Artisan water mixable Color Studio set. I have actually had it for a moment now, and I have been a little hesitant about putting out any type of creative video work with these simply because I am not a oil painter. However, I feel like as a mixed media artist and as someone who uses um, oil pastels, then this is like the next step for me. Not necessarily going full fledged into oils, which would require lots of different things to get a painting done. I felt like water mixable oils and Deca did step in, and this was a set that was sent to the studio for testing and review. It's a 14-piece set of water mixable oils. So 1st of March, hopefully, we will be cracking this open and I'm going to be giving it a try. Now, listen, I'm setting the precursor now that I don't want anyone to expect anything amazing out of me when it comes to oils. I am going to continue to put up the disclaimer that outside of, just kind of playing around with them at art school, maybe playing around with them a little as a kid, I have never been a heavy oil paint person. So I'm really opening myself up to try some new things with this. So you guys can look for this to come up really soon. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of drop the beans a little bit. I'm gonna do this whole kind of like Bob Ross video. We're gonna be giving away some things in that video. And it'll all be kind of centered around using the water mixable oils for the first time. Now, I've heard, and from some of the research that I've done, the Winsor and Newton Artisan water mixable oils is a pretty decent place to start as far as kind of exploring this medium. So yeah, I'm really kind of excited to see where this goes. So you guys stay tuned because that's coming up like really, really soon. Really, really soon. Now, whether I'm going to be successful or whether I'm going to make a complete um, artistic mess of myself, I have no idea. None whatsoever. Okay, so last thing I want to point out before we jump into the actual unboxing is refills, friends. Yes, refills. Here I have refills for the Artwell Artist Gouache. Now, this is probably one of the first companies. Okay, well, let me back up. First of all, you guys who've been following me for a while know that I'm going to have good things to say about Artwell. I think it is one of the better budget companies on the market. I think that the products are affordable. I think that they have their products white label in factories that make really good quality, middle of the road, student grade, almost into professional quality products. I would definitely say that they're all student grade though. So you've seen me review both the original, uh, what was it? 42, 45 color set of art wheel jelly gouache, the ones with the lids and the airtight seal proof case. And then you guys also seen me review the second rendition of that gouache release, which had the 24 metallic colors in it. Well, at the time that they released the ones with the metallic colors, they also decided to start releasing refills. And Artwell is going to be one of the few companies on the market where you can purchase open stock jelly gouache refills without having to buy the complete set again. Which, their gouache set is like 42 42 to 42 or 45, I can't remember. I think it's 42 50 milliliter wash cups with lids and an airtight seal proof pellet. So to have to buy that over and over just because you run out of one color would not be very cost effective for most people, even if you're an artist that does not necessarily watch your art budget. So I think it is really cool that they released refills. Now, they did not have the refills available at the time that they originally sent me the second palette to review. And the Artwell representative that I work with and talk with all the time, she told me, hey, as soon as we get these in stock, I'm going to get you some out so that you can share them with your audience, and they did, and so I'm sharing. Now, I did not feel the need to do like a complete review on these because I reviewed both of the jelly gouache sets already. And if you're curious about any of that, you can find it on the channel under the Thrifty Review playlist. I tell you guys all the time, you just go to the main page, hit the playlist tab, go down to the Thrifty Review playlist, and there you are going to find all of the product reviews that I've ever done on the channel. So definitely check that out if you can, or if you're curious about the reviews. So the refills come 2 cups to a sleeve, which I think is so cool. So you're not just going to get one, you're going to get two at the time that you order a refill. And I'm not sure if they have a refill for every single color now because their color range for their gouache is pretty large. It's between the two sets, including the 24 metallics. But I do know that the core colors are the colors that you would probably consider your main colors. You can order refills for those. And as you can see, the jelly gouache comes with its own lid. It is covered with plastic when you originally get it. And then, of course, the palette itself has that airtight, airproof seal on it to help keep the jelly gouache really workable and pliable for quite a while. So I just wanted you guys to see these. I do not think that it is necessary for me to like do a swatching and an unboxing. What I did want you to know though is that they do have refills. They have refills for this one is sap green. They have a refill for their dark indigo, which is blue. They have a refill for their deep yellow, which is more of their cool, well, one of the cooler yellows in the set. They have a refill for the ultramarine, which would have been so sad had this been one of the colors they missed. Ultramarine blue is probably the most used blue in my entire arsenal, regardless of what medium we're talking about. So I was really happy when they sent me the ultramarine refill. And then, of course, they sent Rose Red, which is more of one of the more magenta leaning, cooler reds in the set. So, you know, they also have lemon yellow. Well, they have a deep yellow. So, in all honesty, you could really order a mixing set of this gouache if you wanted to try it out from the refills, and you would have like too many palettes. Because if you order the rose red, the deep yellow, and the ultramarine blue, you could have a pretty decent mixing set right there, in all honesty. And you could do quite a bit with those three colors. I'm seriously. And throw in the sap green for a convenience green, baby. That would be that's nice. And let's take a look real quick and see what the refills cost. Um, and then we are jumping into our unboxing. Let's see here. Let's go to their website. That's what we're gonna promote from their website. Give me just a second because I have everything bookmarked on the phone that I'm actually recording on. So on this one, I have to kind of look things up. Let's see. Let's say artwell.com. Let's head over there and we'll take a look at art sets. Or maybe not art sets. Uh, paint. Trying to see if I can. Yeah, they make oil and acrylics as well. I've never tried. I said I was going to try their acrylics out at one point. Well, I was trying to see if the refills are on the main website. I was trying not to. Let's see. Art will wash refill. Let's see here. Okay, so it looks like you can get a gouache paint set of 9 refills. Show you guys that. So there's a 9 color refill that you could actually buy as a starter set without having to buy the big 54 set. Like that's a great idea. That's only $13.99 and it's a 5% coupon on it right now. And you get an entire mixing set there. I don't know if you got, I'm trying to see if I can, there we go. I was trying to see if I can make it bigger. But there's a warm and a cool yellow, a convenience green, a warm and a cool blue. It looks to be like a turquoise, a neutral red, a brown, and what color is it? Vermilion. Oh, okay. So you get a warm and a cool of the primaries, a convenience green, a convenience brown. And that's only $13.99. Guys, that's an amazing buy. Now, the only thing that you don't get with it is like the airtight palette. So, you are trading that off, but that's really cool. I'm trying to see if, okay, and these refills are $5.99 a piece. So you get two 50 milliliter cups for $5.99. So you just kind of have to do the math and see how you want to order it, whether you want to order it like by the refill cups to make yourself a little mixing palette, if you want to order the big refill carton, which has the 369 colors in it, which is a complete palette of its own for $13.99, or if you want to shoot for the big set, which is 42 50 milliliter colors, which I believe is somewhere around $55. Um, which in my opinion isn't bad because most of the jelly gouache sets are only giving you cups that are somewhere between 40 and 42 milliliters. These are 50 milliliter cups, so there's a lot of gouache. I mean, a lot of gouache in these. And so I just kind of want to share that with you guys before we jumped into what we're doing. Um, And if you are one of my crafting friends, if you're one of the people who love to come join as we do mixed media crafting, that's what I call it, because the crafting always involves some type of art creation, always. Sorry, I had to take a little swig of that coffee there. I am going to be doing, I don't know if I'm going to do this live, if I'm going to do it as a special release video, I'm not sure yet. But I want to show you guys how to upcycle something, say like your Valentine candy box. Here I have some some of the hazelnut little chocolates that I love, and it comes in these really cute decorative boxes, and they're in truffle shape, so they come in these like little circle trays. And I was about to throw this away, and I thought to myself, "Oh my God, would this not make the cutest palette?" would it not? So I think I'm going to do an upcycling video where I show you guys how to take something as simple as this box that you are about to throw away and turn it into a really kind of elegant studio, or maybe even on the go palette if that's what you want to use it for. You guys know I like doing artsy crafty things, so that's that. So here we have the Arta watercolor set. It is a pocket box, 12 half pans. As you can see, it comes in um, little box. Let's see, you flip it over on the back. Here you're going to have a swatching chart. I don't know if you guys can see that. Of course, it's digitized, so it's not going to be like completely accurate at all. It does give you the color numbers, the names, and outside of that, from first glance, the box does not show any pigment numbers, nor does it have any light fast information. Now, it does conform to the ASTM regulation, not for kids under 3. Flipping over on this side, it is www. So they have their own website, Arta.studio. It is designed in the UK, made in China, and distributed by Jackson Art Supplies, which is why I believe this may be one of the house brands for Jackson's. Now, I've never actually been in a Jackson store. I'm not even sure if there's one here. And if it is, I wouldn't even be able to tell you where. And when I say here, I mean in the United States. Is there a Jackson's in the United States? Somebody dropped it in the comment section. I don't think so. I've always had to order supplies from Jackson. I think they may only be overseas, but I could be wrong. Maybe they're in Canada. I'm not sure. Somebody let me know. You know, I like to give out right information. Okay. So that is pretty much all we see here. It said it has a mixing tray and a brush, so let's pop it open. Ooh, that came open easy. I normally have to fight with boxes. Oh, look there. You know that's a journal, right? Y'all know that. Y'all know this is a journal. So here we have a plastic palette, which is very reminiscent of the Derwent palettes. I'll grab one of those here. Let you see it. So, um, there's that. Definitely lets me know that Arta or Jerry's, or I'm saying Jerry's, Jackson's, I'm sorry. Um, they're sourcing the pallets from the same manufacturer anyway. So there you go. I'm pretty sure this is a generic type pallet that you can order wholesale and have your company's name printed on it. No problems. All right, we'll pop that open. And again, if you've seen a Derwent pallet, there are a couple of other pallets out there on the market now that are made this way. You're pretty familiar with this layout. You're going to get 5 mixing wells in the top. You'll have 12 colors that are in removable trays, and out of those trays, the half pan will remove itself. Of course, these are machine cut and extruded. You can definitely tell just based on the way that they look. And I've kind of done the testing before. This is almost equivalent to a half pan. I've it's hard to say. I don't really work for the factories and gauge it, but that is supposed to be the equivalent of a full half pan of powder. Although when you hold it up to a standard half pan, they do seem slightly different in size, but that's just my opinion. Now here, you have 12 colors that right off you can look at it and pretty much tell what they are. So my first assumption is that there are going to be some optical brighteners, but we don't know that to be sure. These are just preliminary visual overhauls. It does come with a water brush that comes in 2 parts. I do love it when the companies include the little stopper for the water part of the water brushes. It makes it really easy to break them down and transport them. In here, again, we're looking at a water brush that looks just like the Dual water brushes that come inside their little palettes, except for it has Arta printed on it. That would be more than likely somewhere around a number 6 round nylon bristle brush. So there we have that. I guess we'll leave that out. I have so many of those things, I don't even take them seriously anymore. And here, of course, there's a sponge included for you to clean your water brush if you're out and about painting. So that's what those are for. Although you could remove it and use all of this extra space for something else. If you wanted to extend this palette, augment it by adding other colors from another set, if you happen to like these, you could do that by adding half pans into this space, maybe putting some poster putty on the bottom of those pans to make them stick. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. Now, this Durant palette that I was showing you earlier actually has, okay, well, no, that's a bad example because that actually has Durant. Let's see. Let me. Okay, here we go. No, well, is this one? I think this is. Now, that one is made just a little different. Well, I guess only because I'm trying to show it to you, I can't find one sitting beside me right now. But none the who, you could always put some additional half pans in there with like a little poster putty on the bottom of to hold those half pans in. Just, you know. All right. Okay, let's see what's going to happen once we spray them with some water. I'm going to grab my water bottle here, and we're just gonna spray these babies down real quick. I'm running out of water in my bottle. Spray those down, get those kind of juiced up so we can start doing some swatching with them. You know, first impression is that, they're definitely going to be a student grade product that may have quite a few fillers and optical brighteners in it, but we don't know that for sure just yet. So let's just wait and see. We only have 12 colors, so I'm going to grab a black alcohol marker here so we can put down a black line and start some field testing as we do the swatching. Basically starting with uh, opacity test as we swatch. My swatch book, this is a student grade wood pulp paper, 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. Whenever you're swatching your products, it is always my suggestion that you swatch those products on the type of paper that you use the most so that you will get the best representation of how that product will work for you. As a mixed media artist, I use several different types of papers. Uh, I want that to be a half. Why can't I measure? Here we go. Um, so I do tend to use watercolor as well as mixed media paper, Bristol board. And of course, when I do alcohol markers, I use alcohol marker paper. Although I have found that some mixed media papers actually work better for the way I like to use them. Okay, we are going to grab ourselves a brush. I am going to use a synthetic squirrel for this swatching, just so I'll have some juicy puddles. I meant to grab myself a paper towel. I was thinking, Ken, make sure you get everything you need before you start this live. Of course, I did not. All right, we're going to skip the white and we'll start with, well, I really don't like the way they're arranged. Let's see here. I'm going to swatch them and then the way I want them to go, and then I'm going to rearrange them. So we'll start with the light peach. Get a little mass color there, and then I'll just add some water around the end and let it run so we'll get a more watercolor on the end there. From the peach, I'm going to move to, okay, so there, let's go with the lemon yellow. And as you can see, I didn't put any of my little pretty swatch, my little pretty swatch and stamps down this time. We're just gonna do this the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna drag it down with some water there, so we'll get a lighter feel. Let's move on with the orange. Now, what I'm noticing right off is that the paint, I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see the little, like they may have a little goop to them? Can you see that? It feels a little thick. It feels a little thick. So I better cut these swatches down before I don't have enough room. Um, let's see this. I'm gonna assume this is vermilion. Yeah, the water seemed to have kind of soaked into the paint, and now the top layer of it is more of a goop. So I'm definitely gonna mix that out a little bit. Colors are pretty, definitely bright. So no, yeah, that answers the first question. There's some brighteners in it. There are definitely some brighteners in it. I mean, they're gorgeous though. We'll see how much they retain the saturation once they start to shift on drying. Let me see. That was vermilion. Pale red is probably meant to be more like burnt sienna, so maybe the vermilion is. I don't know. Let me paint it out to see. Let's not assume anything. Yeah, that's more of a earthy kind of bricky red, more in the Venetian family. So it looks like there's lemon yellow and a vermilion. Um, of course, it's orange, but I don't see a magenta leaning color. Let's move on and do the permanent. It's got a permanent green. Swatch that one really quick here. Quite a bit of yellow. That's a cute yellow green. I mean, it's not definitely not a sap color, but it's a cute yellow green. And then the next one is chrome green, which in all honesty is not my favorite color, but I'm betting you this is probably more like a phthalo. Well, not quite. It's got more of an olive tone to it. It's a beautiful color, actually. Cerulean blue. You're definitely going to be able to paint with them, no doubt about that. You're definitely going to be able to paint with them. I'm more than likely going to do maybe one, two field tests, and then I'll go ahead and do the review for these because I'm pretty. I feel like I've used these before. Let's see. Then there's a Prussian blue, which I'm going to assume that's what this is. Yes. Now that's gorgeous. That is a beautiful color. But of course, I'm biased. I'm a Prussian blue fan, so not don't feel like they're gonna have a lot of flow to them though. Um, we're gonna go with the yellow ochre. It's pretty thick, pretty thick. That one's definitely opaque. Now you would expect yellow ochre to be a little bit more opaque than any other colors on your palette. Um, earth tone, it's pretty though. Um, if I had to say though, these are definitely not heavily pigmented. What I mean by that is that there's not a lot of pigment here. I believe that this is a dye base, a dye that has been fused onto a substrate like a chalk, maybe. Um, but I definitely do not believe this to be like a pigment based product, or definitely not one with a lot of pigments in it anyway. Let's go with the, and that's just from first impression. Like I haven't painted anything with them yet. And I always tell you guys, I don't jump to conclusions. The only way to truly know if you're going to enjoy a product is to actually use it in a creation. That's just my personal opinion, but it has served me well, I feel like, with being able to give the best review on products that I use. 10, what am I missing? So I haven't swatched the black or the white. Um, don't really feel like I need to, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It's inky. Yeah, either dyes. That black is so inky. So inky. Again, pretty colors though. I mean, of course they're supposed to be rich in saturation, especially if they got a lot of dyes in them. But we don't take things at face value over here in thrifted land. We push it on out and paint it on out. So I'm going for lemon yellow, vermilion, and the first one we're going to use cerulean. I mean, my guess is we're not going to have any issues doing any mixing at all. Now, that's really what I want to do. I'm going to do the next one with, because I don't have, hmm, let me put the lemon here again. I don't really have a, a cooler red to work with like that. Although that pale bricky red could be substituted. We'll see. We'll do a mixing. We'll do a triad mixing with that one too, just to see what happens. So, and we'll use the vermilion in this one again. Oh, it's definitely some fillers in there, friends. Let me see if I can show you guys. So this is what the water looks like so far. I'm not sure if I can see that just from the little swatching we've been doing. I do have one of the little scrub pads in the bottom to help clean the brushes. But that's what the water looks like just from what we've been doing so far. I don't know. This may turn out to be a mini review without me even intentionally doing that. Now there was the cerulean blue, and then there was the Prussian blue, right? It's I think that's beautiful. That's a pretty color, ink or not. Well, it's definitely ink, but um, these feel more like an ink to me, like the ink tints products. That's what they feel like to me. Just from the swatch, and that's kind of what they feel like to me. Um, and then I do wanna, I'm gonna try a couple of mixing triads here to see how they work out. With this one, I want to do the lemon yellow. I want to do the pale, this brick, whatever this is. Look at that. That looks like a brick. It is pretty though. And then on this one, I wanted to use the Prussian blue. And just for kicks, we're gonna do one with the orange. These remind me, yes, that's what these remind me of. These remind me of Inktense. I'm gonna do the orange, the kind of bricky color, and I'm gonna go really crazy. I'm gonna use cerulean in that mixing in the trail to see how that turns out. Can you see how thick it is? Like, excuse me. Mhm. Let's see how that runs. We'll do that in just a minute after we kind of play around. Okay, so now let me show you. I don't know, you can see the pressure, but you can see they're starting to dry. You can see how it dries down. Now, there's no grit at all. This is why I'm saying I believe it's an ink. You know, I would expect it as it starts to dry. If it was laid on top of a substrate, if it was like a chalk, you'd definitely be able to see some type, even if it was the smallest, minute amount of grit. But these are like a flat, dry color, almost as though, yeah, like a dye. Yeah, I think that's it. I really do. All right, let's kind of mix some stuff together here and see what we get. I'm gonna grab. I should have grabbed a clean mixing palette, but oh well. Let's see here. We'll mix all over the place. We'll start with the lemon yellow, and we'll mix it with right here on the corner of the vermilion, and that's gonna give us some decent orange. Of course, you can augment the color, adding one of more, less of the other. It's not bad though. Then we'll do lemon yellow and some cerulean. Not really earthy, but still pretty. Okay, there's gonna be a little blackout for a second. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb, and yeah, so just hang on tight. It's gonna come back. And now I'm going to mix a little of the cerulean with the vermilion here, and desaturated. I'm not crazy about that purple. It definitely desaturated. I'm sure it'll have its place in the world. Now we're gonna do lemon yellow. We're moving to this triad. We have lemon yellow, and we're mixing it with, well, we know what it looks like with vermilion. It's gonna give us this color. But we can shift it a little bit, add a little bit more yellow to it. So we'll have a slightly different variation of that color, of a color that can be mixed from those two. Okay, we need to do lemon yellow again here, and we are mixing it with Prussian blue this time. Yeah, these colors are out of order. I need to put them back in. Put them into. Okay, I like that one. That's a beautiful green. Love that. So cute. Of course, it's mixed from Prussian, so that's probably why I like it so much. Kind of bias on that. All right, and then we're going to shoot for vermilion impression. And I'm just going to mix it right here on the end of that vermilion. That's a gorgeous plum color. Now, you could adjust that, mixing more of the red. And I'm just going to put that right here. See, it can be adjusted. You can mix many different colors from any set. Either way, they're mixing to make some beautiful secondary colors. Not experiencing any issues with any of that so far. I mean, I would expect to, like I said, even if it's a dye, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Even if it's an ink, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'm mixing that lemon yellow with that brick red. Let's see what we get from that. Oh, that's not bad. That's almost yellow ochre. Pull out some of the red. That what is it called? Pale red. It's got more of a golden tone to it. What is it? What is it? Azo? Is it Azo yellow? The one by Core. That's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit. Um, Now I'm going to mix some Prussian blue into the brick and see what we get. And we end up with, now that's interesting. You end up with more of a almost indigo color. That's very interesting. I was expecting it to do something else. Okay, that's good to know. All right, and now we're going to use lemon yellow and Prussian blue, which I think we've already mixed that. We know what that's going to give us. So I mixed more yellow just to give a different shade. Now this one should be interesting. We're going to mix the orange, which I think you're going to get sort of a color theory class today too, huh? And let's use that pale red, mix those together, almost like blood orange. And then there is the orange, and we'll mix the cerulean. You definitely get a green. It's a little bit more muddy, almost olivey. Oh, that's beautiful. I like that one. Now let's mix the cerulean and a little of brick and see what we get here. Again, it's like a dark purple. It's really desaturated. Okay. Let me grab. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna do a little, see how they flow into each other test over here. Now, if these are dyes or inks, this part should be really fun, especially if they're dyes or inks without a lot of fillers in them. So I'm gonna grab a pretty big brush. Well, pretty good brush here. I'm gonna use this flat. This is a number 6 flat, but it's a golden. I mean, it's a synthetic swirl. I'm just gonna whip this little pen of my paper real quick and let's play. Let's go. We got orange sitting there, so why not? It's orange. And let's mix whatever this is. It was green. I'll put some more yellow in it. It is what it is. Let's play with some. I like that. I like that vermilion. Use that vermilion. Just straight. Um, what would we got next? Let's go to a blue cerulean. I'm taking it straight from the pan. Interesting. Uh, why not? Now this will ultimately be used for the lift test. All right. Definitely die. Definitely die. Yes, indeed. See if I can get that to run back up into it so we can see what it does. Play with your paints, play with your products, see what they do, see, explore them. Oh, that's kind of cute. See, that's kind of cute. That's kind of giving me an idea for a landscape, actually. That's kind of cute. Yeah, that's giving me an idea for a landscape. Let's see. Now I'm curious. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The things you can do from just playing with your paints, you know? All right. So the other test that I would typically do when I'm swatching paints would be a salt test, which I don't have any salt here with me, so I'll be doing that off camera. But you know, there's a look at there's a look at the swatches, what they look like. Just you know, right off the top of my head, friends, I'm going to say I think that these are definitely I'm gonna call them dyes. They really remind me of ink. I just don't work for the company. I can't prove that. And I'm really waiting on everything to dry so I can really take a close look at how it settles on the paper, whether I can see any type of grit from a filler or a substrate of any type. And that's going to give me a better inkling of whether they're um, dyes or ink. Who is this? This is ARTA watercolor 12. Yeah. All right. And then I'll go through and write the name of each color on there. This was, it's really hard to tell exactly what type of mixing patterns this was. This was actually split. This one wasn't split, you know, it's in so many ways. This one was split. That could have been cool or split, considering the fact that there's only one yellow in there. So, not too bad, not too bad. I'm not really good at making stuff up in my head. So I pulled up just in case I needed it. I pulled up a reference photo on Unsplash. I've saved it to my phone, and now I'm going to open it up to use it as a reference. I will not be painting the exact thing, but I will be using it as a reference. Um, kind of guide me along this, and hopefully we'll get finished with it. All right, let's see. I want to start by putting a horizon line about the top third of my paper. I'm gonna put it in lightly. It's just for me to work out where some things are going to be. All right, excuse me. And then we are going to have tree, tree, tree. You'll be able to see open water, and that land mass comes about here. And that'll be tree, 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 tree. And that'll curve back into that way. And then the water will come back around like so. All right, and that's all I need. Just a few lines kind of sketch out. I don't even know if you guys can see that, but just a few lines kind of sketch out what I'm doing, where guide me where I'm going. The sky in this picture is pretty gray. The water is kind of murky, a really desaturated blue. So I am going to, wish I had some clean mixing room, but we're gonna make it work. Let me see here. That's blue and green. I want to mix those colors together. And to that, I'm going to add a little of that pale red. We're going to see if we can start desaturating that. Get it to a gray. There we go. I can work with that. I'm going to wet my sky area. Now, if it gets too hard for you guys to see at any point, let me know. I'm doing my sky wetting to wet, bringing it right down to the horizon line and grabbing that gray I just made, and we are going in towards the top of the sky. I will mix in a little cerulean, definitely keeping it dark and moody. Now, this is a tone paper that I'm painting on, so there's that. Just kind of a grayed out blue sky, one color. And in all honesty, I really need a paper towel. I'm going to grab a dry brush and just see if I can pull. There we go. All right. Going to move on to the water area. And again, it is really grayed out. Take it right up to my sky without touching it. The only thing you want to keep in mind is this part, although my water circles in, I still want to kind of keep a horizontal stroke as I do this. This brush honestly isn't big enough for me to be trying to do anything with, but it is what it is. I'm going to switch over to the flat brush I had. Grabbing that same gray blue mixture and keeping my strokes horizontal. You might not be able to see it because of the color of the paper. Take that water line right up. And it is watery and wet, so I'm really not worried about it. I'm going to be putting green on top of that. I'm going to mix a little of that pale red in, take that back towards my gray tone. That was a little darker than I expected, I will admit. um, okay, we'll give it a second to dry. As you can see, this paper, by being toned, it kind of helps. It mutes. It mutes things. Everything has like this really different sort of feel to it. Now here, these colors were super bright on this because I used like a dye-based product. Of course, this is a gouache, so it has its purposes. There was something I started where I was trying to follow something Lindsay was doing, and I never got through with it. I don't even remember what paints I was using. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I remember what paints it was. But like, so depending on what you're doing on this paper, you get a really good result. Um, what style you're going for, like that was done with watercolor pencils, and I just feel like it lost some of the saturation once everything was said and done. And of course, you guys remember doing that. So it takes ink super well for it to be a watercolor paper. That was gouache. So yeah, you know, you kind of get it. It's okay. It's, I'm trying to use it. It's the point. The foreground is going to be. I kind of want to paint. Where is the picture? Everything is so desaturated and kind of dulled down. Um, it's sort of a misty day, so to speak. Sort of a misty day. Now I'm gonna just swipe greens in my foreground. Excuse me. And pick up some of that kind of earthy, brickish red. Slip that in some areas here along the water. Maybe a little bit down here towards us. Very simple, very straightforward landscape. I'm gonna go back in with that. What was that called? Permanent green light, and I am adding just a little blue to that, just that cerulean to kind of help break that saturation, pull some of that warmth out of it because it has a lot of yellow in it, and I'll even purposely get darker with that. Since we're using cerulean, we'll stick with that. Keep some color harmony. It's gonna go almost phthalo greenish. That's what I'm trying to prevent. I'm just putting all of these colors right here in the foreground. keeping it watery and light. I've been doing that a lot lately with my landscapes. I don't know why. It's just feeling right to me, especially on this particular paper. Just laying down base color. I may come back in and put in some, maybe some rock or something. I don't know. Just playing around with the paint right now to see what I'm doing, what it'll allow me to do. I'm gonna grab some more of the brick and kind of to the water a little bit. And even if the green runs into the water, I'm okay with that. I just want it to be a seamless line there. There's not a lot of water on my brush. I really just added some more, kind of do some color blending, but I was doing a lot of dry brushing at first to make sure I could get that color kind of concentrated and saturated in the areas that I wanted it to be. I'm building this landscape a little backwards from what I normally do, but that's okay. We're working it out. We're working it out. Got a stand of trees I want to put back here. Um, let's see here. I have a stand of trees. I want to run this way. I'm just gonna kind of map it out with this green color. It's not quite what's gonna happen there, but okay. And I want a dark green. I want something that's almost, I want something neutral. I want something that's gonna kind of get pushed back. Let's go. What did we have here? This was a bunch of stuff. It was Prussian blue and the orange, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna add some of that cerulean to that because I need it to still maintain color harmony. But I don't mind mixing in the Prussian because oh look how it took over everything. I was able to just just the paint got so goopy it swiped up so much of it. Um, yeah, so let's start that again here. So no doubt, paint re-wets really well. It re-wets super well, and it kind of it holds that moisture and it stays with. I need to mix. I need to mix a dark here. Notice I'm mixing colors and I'm not rinsing my brush. Now, on a normal basis, with any good set of paints, you can do this and it'll only slightly contaminate the top of your paint. And at that point, all you need to do is just wait till your paint dry and clean it. Um, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do this with a brown or round brush? No, I really don't. I really want to do this with a flat. And I want to do it with, I guess I'll use a squirrel. And let's see. Paint's kind of thin. I definitely need to put some, I need to thicken it. Less water, more paint. We are just, or I am attempting to tap in a tree line that looks convincing. That's what I'm attempting to do. And of course it goes up. Never really made trees like us. Yeah, I told y'all this one was gonna be our doozy. And I'm just using it to fill in. People still do that. Okay, so there's this guy walking outside my window with a. People still do that. I didn't know people still did that. I thought we were past that. Oh, yeah. So I'm just working on on those trees, working on getting it kind of how I want it, you know. You're there. Harry Potter, gotcha. Okay, I don't think that looks too bad. That's pretty decent. A little bit more. Up. All right, I'm almost okay with that. Now, we got to put us a little stand of trees back there. It needs to be much more desaturated to push it to the back. Oh, this is supposed to have like grasses and things, which we're gonna have. I would fill in. I don't know how far we're gonna get with this because at this point, I'm pretty sure this it. Yeah, it's almost that time, so I'm going to water this down a little more. We're definitely gonna get in kind of veiny, misty trees in the back here. Now, these we're going to paint smaller because they are farther away from us. And I'm just checking my reference photo to see how far back there. That should be enough. Now this row is gonna be a lot farther back. I'm gonna be able to see kind of. Now, I'm using a flat brush. You could be using a round brush for this. You cannot be painting this at all. You could be painting your own thing. This is just me playing around with these paints, trying to get a little bit of a better feel for them. I'm not aiming for a masterpiece, but I am aiming for a recognizable landscape where you'll be able to see that he actually used the paints to see if we could get a pretty recognizable. It's a lot of water. Probably going to end up putting another, although I want them to fade. Still probably going to end up putting another, all right. I'll just let that be for right now, though. And we'll see what it looks like when it dries. Not too bad, not too bad. I think we get the point of everything here. Um, I'll put a few of those darker swooshes in the water just to bring some shadow to it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now I'm going to put a rock. Let's see. Is that dry? It's dry. I'm gonna put a rock right here, friends. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put a rock right there. Or two. Mhm. Or three. And maybe on this end too, there is, there's like, um, they would actually be bigger. Well, not really. And I wanted to find that coastline a little bit more when I do that too. I use graphite in my watercolor all the time. I don't think you should be scared to. I think you should do whatever feels right for you, whatever feels comfortable for you. I think that graphite is beautiful with watercolor. I used to be one of those people who did not want to see um, my pencil line. Oh, I don't want to see my pencil. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed hanging out today. It has been my pleasure as we have taken the very first preliminary look at the Arta watercolor set. This is their Pocket Box 12 half pens. Now, some of you have been hanging out with me today. Maybe you've already formulated your own opinion on what you think of the paints at this point, which is completely understandable. I personally am going to reserve um, any true deep thought about what I think until I do at least one more project with them. You know, at least I want to get at least one Beam. Yes, yes, Beam. Okay. Yes. So I'm definitely gonna have to try to get. I'm gonna look into getting Beam. I've been looking at them. But so far with these, despite what one may think about the formulation, let's make that clear. Despite what one may think about formulation, if you are not someone who is into whether or not the product is comprised of pigments or inks or dyes, if that's something that's not important to you, then I'll go ahead and say that, it's not a bad set. It's definitely not a bad set. Um, you can paint with it, obviously. You can mix with it. There's enough in there for you to not have to mix if you don't want to. There's some conveniency there. Yeah, the earth red that's in it, or the earthy reddish brown, is pretty robust. They're pretty saturated. You can see here they're all dry. There's not a huge shift from wet to dry, even when you got down into the areas where I watered the swatch down a little bit more. I've never been a huge fan of like the flesh tones, but that's because up until this year, I've never really tried to do portraits. And I don't know what month of this year I'm going to actually, try to break into it. But I'll be honest, that realm of painting scares me. Um, Trying to do a portrait of any type, but I'm gonna do it. I am. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So right off the bat, again, I'm not going to pass any direct judgment on the paints. I'll let you draw your own conclusions based on what you've seen in this live and based on what you've heard discussed. I will tell you that there will be a comprehensive review on the paint set coming up. We probably won't see these paints live again. Um, the next time you hear about them will be the actual review, because I'm just going to do another little cutesy something, just to make sure I think what I think about them, and then I'm just going to go ahead and release the review. So we will have quite a few watercolor reviews coming out. We will have the colored pencil signature color pencil review coming out eventually, and maybe we'll work with colored pencils tonight in Patreon. So maybe that's what our lesson will be around. Haven't quite decided just yet. That advertisement, or should I say the link for Creation Station 8 p.m. live tonight will be going up after this stream goes down. Um, just in case anybody wants it, I will link this artist set in the video description when I get off the live as well. Just keep in mind it is coming from Jackson's, so you will be paying shipping and handling unless you order enough to skip over having to do that. Thank you guys so very much. Please, please, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you was here with us live. If you're watching in replay, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It was my pleasure to share with you this new paint set. Go out, enjoy the rest of your week. Don't forget to catch the pre-recorded video coming up this Wednesday. Um, Patreon Creation Station members, I will see you tonight. Check the video description for all relevant links. And remember, my friends, as I tell you at the end of every single video, just keep creating.